Today we're going to make caramel frosting, which happens to be one of my favorites. I love this version of it no matter what. It's always nice and silky and it has a very rich taste to it. I have already put in a stick of butter plus a tablespoon and a cup and a half of brown sugar. I normally use all light brown sugar, but it's perfectly okay to mix it up with dark brown sugar or whatever combination you have. It depends on how nutty you want it to be. I added a half a teaspoon of salt because whenever you're cooking something sweet, you must add some salt. I'm going to add an entire can of this Eagle brand milk to my frosting and give that a really good stir. The trick of cooking really good caramel frosting is to remember that you got to let it get a little silky. After I've added my Eco brand milk, I'm going to add maybe a quarter cup of pet milk. I like pet milk much better than carnation because pet milk has its own little flavor. You're going to cook and stir this for about 15 minutes. You want it to get nice and light and silky, which is not there yet. And remember, if you burn it, stop stirring, drain it, put it in another pot, and continue. Don't stir it up anymore if you notice you got a burn spot. And it will burn if you're not actually stirring it all the time. So, and don't have it up too high. Medium heat is really good. And it's starting to get a little shiny there, but it still needs to cook about another 15 minutes. So we're going to cook it another 15 minutes. My caramel that I have cooking here, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of vanilla to that. And I want some of that vanilla to go over in the hot pot by itself there until it sizzles. And then I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that in with the frosting. And if you have a vanilla bean and you want to add just a little extra vanilla flavor, just put a little tad of that in your pot. And then continue to cook it until it gets really nice and glossy. Hasn't reached that stage yet, but we're almost there. This has cooked for about 15 minutes and I've stirred it mostly constantly, but I did have it down rather low stirring it. If you notice how this caramel is very shiny and there's no lumps in it, I'm going to let it cool. And to cool it, I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator or the freezer for a few minutes before I put it on the cake. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and use your caramel exactly like it is to frost a cake, or you can add a cup of powdered sugar to make it more like a frosting, which is what I do most of the time. I use it straight like this if I want it to be more like an icing and have more like a shell. But if I want it more like a frosting, I'll add a cup or so of powdered sugar. So after this cools, I'm going to beat it for a minute, add a cup of powdered sugar, and then I'm going to put it on the cake. We have cooled our frosting and beat it just a little bit. I added a cup of confectionery sugar because I want it more like a frosting than a icing. So I like to pour it on a hot cake and just let it run and do its thing. And you frost it. And it's so good. I love a caramel cake. It was my grandson's favorite. Then it became my granddaughter's favorite. She kind of took over. My husband's favorite cake is German chocolate, but now he eats all the caramel first. So I don't know what his favorite is anymore, but always, always, always just cover each little area. Everybody loves to get some caramel in their cake. And we have a beautiful frosted caramel cake here. And it kind of reminds you of when people used to stop by the house on Sunday just so they can get a piece of pound cake and a pot of greens, which is always good. But remember, the old folks used to say, keep your fork, baby. The best is yet to come.